Okay, welcome to today's project. We're going to be installing railings. I've already started, got the first one on the wall here, and we've got a bunch of other ones pre-cut to size that we're going to be putting up on the stairway going upstairs. So come on, let's take a look. What we've got going on here, basic railing height, about 36 inches from the tread on the floor to our railing height. Now what I did is measured the offset from the top of the railing to where this anchor is going to go on the wall. That's about 3 inches. So we know that we're going to measure from the floor tread all the way up here to about 33 inches, and that'll give us an overall height of 36. And because I like to be neat, I tape a bag to the wall wherever I'm going to cut holes in the wall to put in these big anchors. That way we collect all of our dust in the bag instead of going all over the house. You can see we've got drywall here on the walls. And what's really unique about this setup, on this wall, it's an inch thick drywall because this is our neighbor's side. Over here, we've just got standard drywall. So we're gonna be using a couple of different types of toggle anchors, and we're not gonna be going into the studs. Usually when you're doing something that's load bearing like this, you're gonna wanna go into the stud to have the strongest hold. But since it's metal studs on these walls, we can't very well support a lot of weight on the metal studs. So we're going to be using a variety of wall anchors. So when installing the railings, what we want to do is get it to a natural height. You can start by figuring out, for an average person, when your hand is going to reach out to the railing, it's typically 36 inches. So what I did is, in the middle of the top tread on our stair, measure about 36 inches up, mark 36 inches on the wall, and that's where you want the top of your railing to go. From there, you'll need to figure out how far down that bracket's gonna hang. And these come down 2.5 inches. 36, 35, 34, so about 33.5 from the stair tread to the center part is where we wanna mark our wall. And I've already marked it here, so we know that that's where we're gonna put our anchor. And the same thing goes here. At the bottom tread, we're going to measure 36 inches up, come down our 2.5 inches, mark the wall, and that'll be where we put our bottom anchor. Now it's time to actually start attaching the railing and the brackets to the wall. Since I don't like to make a lot of mess, what I'll do is tape a paper bag to the wall below where I'm going to cut into the drywall. So we know we want our railing to be 36 inches off of the bottom tread, and we've got a 2.5 inch 3-inch offset for the height of our bracket. So from where it reaches the railing to where the screw is, we've got a 3-inch difference. So I'm going to measure up 33 inches, so in the middle of our tread, and we're going to make a mark right on the wall at 33. So we're just going to use a basic drywall screw and loosely attach our anchor or our railing bracket right there. And we're going to do the same thing at the other end of the railing. And then all we need to do is set this in place at the top and the bottom, and we'll adjust it to fit. Kind of move it a little left, a little right, until it looks right. And we've got even spacing between the wall and the end on this side, as well as on that side. And then once we've got it set in place, we can then take our little screws from the underside, go through our bracket, and start to screw it in just to make a mark on the railing where we want to have our pilot holes. And then we're going to drill a pilot hole into the underside of the railing so that this thick screw will have a nice home to sit into. So I let this fall completely down until it touches the wall at the bottom side. Measure our distance here, and that's 13 inches. So I know I need to bring it up 6.5 to make it even both at the top and the bottom. There's our 6.5 inch mark. And I'm just gonna make a little line here so that I know where I want my bracket to align on the underside. Once that's in place, then all you need to do is move down the length of your railing, putting in another 2 of these or 3 of these, depending on how many you want. I usually break it up about every 2 or 3 feet. Put a bracket, make sure it holds nice and sturdy, and repeat the process. All right, so when it comes time to drill your pilot hole, you've got to take a look at the type of screw you're going to be using and get a drill bit that's going to be about the same diameter as the screw itself. So you want the drill bit to be a little bit narrower than the thick part of the screw, so that when you look at it, the screw itself will completely hide the drill bit. But if you look at it from the other way, that drill bit will align so that only the screw threads stick out wider. Now, you notice I've got this piece of blue tape on here. What I did was mark how tall that screw is and put the piece of tape so that I don't drill too deep into the railing. Because last thing I want is for the drill bit to go beyond the depth of the screw and poke out the top side of the railing, and that wouldn't be fun. So now that I've marked my drill bit, got the right diameter, I already marked the railing where this needs to be drilled into. It's time to start putting together our pilot holes. Start drilling the pilot holes. I love my little tiny, portable, very easy to use, lightweight Makita drill. This puppy was $49. It's awesome. All right, so over here, you can see that I already marked with the pencil where that needs to align. Since these are all the same, I'm just gonna hold this where I want it to be. Right there. And then drill a little hole. I'm not gonna go all the way in, just enough to mark it. And then I'm gonna hold it securely with my other thumb and mark another hole. All right, now I've started my pilot holes right there. I'm gonna hold this over a trash bag and complete drilling until I go all the way deep enough for this tape mark on the drill bit to come into contact with the surface of the railing. That way I know I'll get the right depth. Really attached to the wall, we build our pilot holes. We're gonna take our screw and just put it in and get it set ever so gently, just to kind of hold things in place. Then you'll have everything laid out. You're gonna drill all your pilot holes, attach your wall brackets to the underside of the railing. You're gonna have your wall brackets screwed in with just a lightweight drywall screw to start. Make sure everything's laid out properly, feels good. Double check your measurements so you're 36 inches from the bottom of the tread all the way up to the railing, both here at the top and all the way down there at the bottom. Once everything is good, feels good, seems like it's lined up properly, then it's time to take everything off of the wall and the fun part begins. Drill these big honking 1-inch holes, put in the toggle bolts or the wingets anchors, and then we'll set everything in place, tighten it all up securely, and that's our entire project. All right, and now it's time to choose our anchors and actually attach the brackets to the railing. We've got a few different ones to choose from here. Now, if we're looking at our typical railing, we've got a couple of different types of brackets that you can hold to the wall. This is your normal lightweight or medium weight bracket. You see it's kind of silver. What's interesting about this is if you look at the top view, we've got 3 holes that are gonna have to go in the wall. We may not want that. This one over here is a little bit nicer. It only has 1 hole going into the wall. And why that's important in this situation is we only want 1 hole because we only want 1 jumbo wall anchor. Like I said before, we're going into drywall, not into studs. Now, if you're gonna go into studs, having something like this with the 3 holes, totally fine, because you're gonna be able to hit the stud on both, or actually on all 3 of these. And if it's a wooden stud, you're good. You'll have great holding power. You're gonna be using screws kind of like this. They're wood screws, nice coarse thread, thick metal. not the thin drywall ones. You need a thick wood screw to have proper holding power, like this as well. Nice thick screw. Using this guy, we've got just the one hole, which is perfect for an anchor. Now these anchors we're gonna use, these ones are called wingets. They're designed to hold up to 300 pounds in the wall. And here's how they work. So you've got the two parts of the wingets, pops together. And so here's our two different types of wall anchors that we can use in drywall. Wingets I just talked about. You can see how it fits into the wall cavity and it expands behind the drywall to hold up to 300 pounds. Toggle bolts. Now these will expand behind the wall and hold just as much weight. The type of screws we're going to be using, if you're going into wooden studs, you want to use these nice thick, coarse, threaded screws that are designed to hold a lot of load, not your itty bitty skinny drywall screws. All right, so I figured out we need a spacing of 37.5 inches between each of the brackets all the way down. So I measured from one bracket to the next, made a mark on the wall, 37.5 inches. We'll take our next bracket, the drywall screw goes in, and I'm gonna align the screw with the mark I put on the wall, and into the wall. Now remember, this is only temporary. These drywall screws have no holding power whatsoever, but this allows us to line up everything, any sawdust. And you can go ahead and drill. Now always remember, don't go past the tape. Our brackets evenly spaced along the length of the railing. Everything's held in place with just temporary drywall screws. And now it's time to take everything apart and then put it together with the proper anchors. All right, we've got the railing down. Time to play with the anchors. So we're just gonna take this one off. We know that this is super thick drywall because I've already mounted a few here. I drilled a pilot hole to start, and then you can see just how deep it goes. If it was wooden walls, I'd be using my stud finder. Look for our stud, which is indicated here, and that would be where I want to put my anchor. Make sure I lined up on the wooden stud. But this is a modern condo building. We've got metal studs. They have no holding power at all. If you use any kind of regular screw into that metal stud and then you put some weight on it, it's just gonna yank right out. So that's why we're doing our heavy duty wall anchors, toggle bolts. Put the screw through the wall bracket. And then you're gonna gently set it into your toggle bolt winged connector. You'll see it's gonna go like this. So here's the hole in my wall. Toggle bolt's gonna go into it, pop open, pull back nice and tight. So that's what we're going for. Which means we need to make a hole in the wall that's big enough to accommodate the width of the wing adapter, the wing, when we make the hole. So this is what I'm looking at. We've got toggle, and I want a drill bit that will be just a little bit wider. And this is my 1/2 inch drill bit. Looks like it's the right width. So let's have some fun, but be neat about it. So get your paper bag, tape it to the wall, don't make a mess. And there we have it. We're gonna use this guy. See that a little bit of wiggling, it goes right in. So I'm gonna push that all the way in, and then we just tighten up this screw, and the bracket will be nice and snug against the wall.